Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming for today's webinar. In whichever part of the world are you, good day, and wishing you a good weekend in advance. We are here today to discuss the topic related to artificial intelligence, the core of what's going on across the world today. It is being, led by Dr. Paritosh Basu. Dr. Basu is an eminent scholar and a professional par excellence. There's so many things about his credentials and accolades, which
Right.
I feel for which I feel short of time, but I would still try to give a small summary. I'll share his LinkedIn and other profile later on. You could have a look. So, besides being a professional in terms of being a chartered accountant, a cost accountant, a PhD, and all other associated qualifications under his belt. Dr. Basu is an eminent scholar. He has led various summits, various committees where various projects on AI and related topics. His contributions have been across domains that way. He has been a fellow member of All India Management Association. He has recently published his second book, Digital Transformation: A Prismatic View. And besides leading this company Strategility Consulting as a senior director, earlier Mr. Basu has held senior controller and CFO roles with large Indian MNCs. That's in brief about him. He has certainly been awarded by various organizations. He has chaired various blockchain and summits and delivered various keynote speeches and discussions. So I would just share this brief and welcome Dr. Basu for this webinar. And we are really excited to learn and leverage from his experience. Dr. Basu, over to you, please.
Thank you, Vinit. Thank you for your kind words. And thank you, Charlotte and Vinit, for giving me this opportunity. I welcome you all to my session here. And I would like to request you a couple of things before I start talking. You can connect with me through LinkedIn. I have about 20,500 plus people connected in our network through LinkedIn. I will request if you have any question, which you will certainly have during the course of my talking, you can please put it in the chat box, and Vinit will help me towards the end of my session of after about 45-50 minutes to answer those. He will prompt those. If any participant wants to go ask questions with the communication link through the video, you can definitely open your screen and talk to me. My topic of the evening is AI and generative AI from CFO's strategic perspectives. When I put the word CFO, I definitely mean the CFO and his or her team members also. I have a very simple agenda, but I will talk about the artificial intelligence fundamentals and advancements. Then I'll get into the core of the topic, that is CFO strategic perspectives, frameworks for adoptions and application for CFO's function, that is AI and generative AI, how he will work towards adoption and application. And finally, we'll talk about approaches for implementation of AI projects, ethics, culture, and AI TRiSM. I'll be using quite a lot of graphics which I have collected from internet, which are freely available. I acknowledge my debt to them, and I'm using this only for the purpose of propagating knowledge, and I have no commercial motive behind it. So let's get into the talk. Artificial intelligence fundamentals and advancements. The good old saying to finance people is that when future looks hazy and clouded with uncertainties, it is time to go back to basics. I remember when I entered the profession of finance in 1979 as a junior audit assistant of PricewaterhouseCoopers, the then. If we have to go back to basics, we used to go back to the trial balance of previous years. We used to go back to the final accounts of previous years, maybe 5 years, 7 years data. That time there was no Excel also. And we used to collate data and then try to make meaning out of data. And that time also management discussion and analysis was not a very important part of the director's report. So we had to depend upon final accounts and the trial balance. But today, and data has become an ocean. And to remove the haze in front of us as finance professionals is not a difficult task if we apply the tool offered by the family of artificial intelligence. And not only data and the past and opening the haze in front of us, on your right side, you can see identify the sits in the womb of time. That is the call I am giving, that data will speak to you, you will speak to data, and data will show you at some point of time what is lying in store for us in the womb of time. So let us remember the valuable quote of Brian Dyson, the ex-CEO of Coca-Cola. He said, value has a value if its value is value. Value has a value if its value is value. So we have to value the data, which is the most valuable asset of any corporation today. And the value is not in plant and machinery. Value is in the data and value is in people. So let's go forward and understand the subject in greater detail. Now, quickly, we will revisit artificial intelligence. That's not the core part of my talk, but it's necessary for us to understand artificial intelligence. Oxford Dictionary defines artificial as made or produced by human being rather than occurring naturally, something which people do it. You remember when terraline fiber came first, we used to call it man-made fiber, not nature-made fiber, and we used to call it artificial fiber. And terraline is not equivalent to cotton. It is coming from the domain of hydrocarbon. Coming to intelligence, again, Oxford Dictionary defines intelligence as ability to acquire knowledge and skills. Ability to acquire knowledge and skills. Now comes the word cognitive intelligence. Cognitive intelligence, the word cognitive means the ability to recognize something and reproducing something. The intelligence for cognition or the ability to recognize, that is the cognitive intelligence. So if we combine these three definitions into one, we get the core definition of artificial intelligence. Again, I will borrow from Oxford Dictionary. It says the theory and development of computer systems which can perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence. Mind you, normally requiring human intelligence being performed by a computer systems such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages, means English to Hindi or Hindi to Greek or English to Greek and so and so. That means it's a theory and development of computer systems. So artificial intelligence now is connected with computer systems and computer system performing what a human being can do. So what is the paradox coming from these four definitions is, the first definition is from the interplay of nature and human beings. This first definition told us artificial means interplay of nature and human beings. While the fourth definition is telling us it is interplay between human being and a computing machine. So the flow is nature to human being to computer to human being. That means human being made computer, human being made computer to learn and analyze data through algorithms given to the computer. And now computer is prompting to human being, hey, this is what it is. So the paradox is nature, human being, computer, and human being. Now, this paradox is now open and clear to us because we understand that computer helps us to do in an intelligent manner. The difference is that what a human being can do in terms of speed and volume handling, computer can do thousands and thousands times more in terms of speed and volume. Therefore, the inference we can draw is this: artificial intelligence is the ability of a computing machine to perform a task that a human being can perform with her his own intelligence, leaving aside the volume and speed. That means artificial intelligence is the ability of a computing machine. So this ability is created by human being. That is why it is nature to human being to computer to human being. You may be all knowing that in 1930s, a British logician called Alan Turing, he started the work on artificial intelligence, followed by Marvin Minsky and John McCarthy. But my study says that uh, somewhere in 18th century, there used to be some work on artificial intelligence which has not been authored in the directional thoughts of artificial intelligence, what we see today. Artificial intelligence has got three stages. One is artificial narrow intelligence, which is in the specific context of, say, studying 50 years data and doing weather report prediction. Artificial general intelligence, which we are seeing today, translation by computer, recognition and voice reproduced by computer, computer recognizing the voice of his master and then doing the work like Alexa is doing for us. And it is equal capability of human being. And then next stage is artificial super intelligence. It's the science fiction stage where hitherto human being intelligence will be superseded by the computer. I think that day hasn't come, but the question in front of us, particularly the finance people, is will AI be able to substitute, I repeat, will AI be able to substitute senior professionals' wisdom and experiential learning by mimicking how their brains deal with the issue of ethics, morality, and passion? I personally feel that if ethics means compliance with the law, that is simply compliance. That is, ethics come from the human morality and human compassion, human passion. So the passion with which a senior CFO or a senior finance person or today's finance person will work, will the computer work with the same passion? That's the first question. Second question, will AI ever be able to take over human intelligence? Let's leave the point at that and go ahead with our topic of the day. Artificial intelligence, day by day, the family is increasing one after the other. Uh, Originally, artificial intelligence, when it started with data analytics and making meaning out of data, speech recognition, behavior recognition, reinforcement of learning, AI ethics, etc. Then came the machine learning. Machine learning came in two stages. It is supervised learning. That is, a machine is supervised and machine learns in terms of algorithm. And one is unsupervised learning, when machine is asked to produce whatever it has inferred by itself. That is unsupervised learning. Then comes the neural network. I will discuss about it. Then comes the advanced stage of deep learning. And finally, we are now in the generative AI stage. We have also got recently agentic AI. I'll talk about this just now. But this particular deep learning is a very important point. It's a type of machine learning based on neural network in which multiple layers of processing are used. As you know, our brain has got multiple layers of information processing. Neural network functions in that way, and it also functions with a cause and effect and fishbone method of taking decision type of way. And it progressively attains the higher level of features by data, and all these things are done by the algorithms and machine synthetic working. So we are first coming to generative AI, which is the recent advancement which came around end of 2021 and 22. What generative AI is the capability of a computing machine to scrape through a large number of data and produce a summary of it. While it produces the summary, it generally does not reproduce exactly the sentences from there. It applies its own algorithm and makes a summary. Like this morning, I was trying to understand what is my biodata from ChatGPT, and I came to know that there were many mistakes are there. Many misinformations were there in ChatGPT. I was also amazed at certain information which was there in computing system in 2016-17. Those have also been collected. But the recent change in my profile, that I have become an adjunct faculty of IIM Kozhikode, Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, that has not been captured as yet. That means its data is limited. So the problem with generative AI is that it can't go beyond what it can scrape through. Coming to agentic AI is an AI or artificial intelligence system which can make its own decision, which can plan its own action, even it can learn from its experience. That means if you ask the computer to take a particular decision and reiterate that decision, suppose you have taken a particular decision based on 2023 data, and you give them the 2024 data and ask the computer to see whether your decision remains unchanged or changed. If you scrape to the 2024 data, agentic AI may give you a dynamic answer. So it possesses a degree of autonomy and can act on its own. Now, if you can ask me a question, Dr. Basu, will the computer do everything on its own? Answer is no, because it has an algorithm to do like that, and it will function according to the directive of the algorithm. Otherwise, it's a black box and a stupid box. Now, retrieval augmented generation, that means generative AI connected with the retrieval model. So RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, is a combination of two computing tools. One is the retrieval tool and one is the generative tool. Now, what this model can do, it struggles to produce contextually relevant, factually accurate, up-to-date data responses. Now, when you say struggles to produce, in ChatGPT, I gave example that my present data has not been updated, that I am an adjunct faculty of IIM Kozhikode. Computer, this particular RAG module of generative AI will say, hey, we are producing this summary of Dr. Basu in 2024, but I can't find without any data beyond 2022 or 2023. So although it is there in LinkedIn, so ChatGPT or any other generative AI tool might have not gone through the LinkedIn part of the data available in the open computing system and the cyberspace and have checked it. Next is the artificial neural network. I was talking to you about the brain-like layers of neural systems. So neural network has got a very interesting capability. It can learn from its mistakes and improve continuously. So artificial neural network attempts to solve complex problems like summarizing documents or recognizing face with greater accuracy. So why the fast battery-operated vehicle failed to, or self-operated vehicle failed? In front of it, there was a picture of ocean, which was being carried by the previous truck, and the car didn't understand and it stopped. It didn't recognize. It recognized that I'm approaching a ocean and not I'm on a road. That kind of controversy happened. The story is not very clear. And last comes the predictive AI. Predictive AI is an AI system that utilizes statistical analysis and machine learning algorithms to make predictions. That means it looks at the old data, studies the trend of the data, applies a lot of regression analysis, lots of statistical tools, etc., 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 and creates a set of data which we can be also called as synthetic data, and it can also say the potential future outcomes if the data continues to be the transactional data continue to be same in future years, what would be the outcomes of it, what would be the risk exposure of the company. So there are many varieties of artificial intelligence, as you saw in the screen, but I have picked up a couple of them because it will be useful for CFOs. Now coming to the, so let us revisit what we have done. We have understood what is artificial intelligence definition wise. What is the problem with the artificial intelligence, which it cannot replace as of now is the wisdom, ethics, morality, and passion. And now we have understood the artificial intelligence from the perspective of CFO, what are the things available to him. And finally, we will now get into the CFO strategic perspectives. Now, when we are talking about digital transformation, essentially artificial intelligence is a tool for digital transformation. Today, when you have to open a bank account, we don't have to go to bank. We have video recorded KYC. We don't have to go to bank. We upload our application and data. Our KYC is automatically done. And then our bank account is opened, and there is nothing needed because various techniques of artificial intelligence like OCR, optical character recognition works, then conversion of written data to filling up forms are possible. Like I upload my income tax return, and certain important information can be filled up by the artificial intelligence computing system into my form, etc., etc. So everything has been digitization has been done by the companies, and most of the companies have done digitization. I was talking about my first work in Bamalori when I joined. We used to go for trial balance scrutiny and ledger scrutiny. At that point of time, Bamalori used to have computerized ledger keeping, but the job stopped there. It didn't have any data analytics kind of things. So digitization have been done in the world, and the world has also progressed to digitalization. What is the difference between digitization and digitalization? In a digitalization environment, you can get the routine mundane work done by the computer instead of people working on it. Like I was telling you, the computer system, you are sitting at home and the entire computing system of bank taking care of your banking, you are doing mobile banking, you are doing internet banking through your laptop, and even your KYC is being done by the artificial intelligence things. Now the new concept has come is robotic process automation, where a software is being made intelligent, where the software is so intelligent that the software can embed into it the policies and procedures of a bank to sanction loan. So earlier, the digitized information were put in front of a bank officer who is the sanctioning authority. He used to see the data visually and apply his mental thought process. And finally, he used to say, okay, this loan can go for sanction and disbursement. And he used to give the approval signal. Because of robotic process automation, which is an artificial intelligence process, now it can straightaway get into approval process. But there is a difference between digitalization and digital transformation. Now, what is that difference? That is very important. Digitalization or digital transformation, the difference is when post-digitalization, you can start having new business models. or new revenue models with the help of digitalization of your company, then you can call it that, hey, we have digitally transformed our organization. The point here is, I'll give you an example. Suppose I'm buying a mobile phone, and I'm in Amazon.com, and I'm checking out. Amazon.com prompts me, would you like to take a consumer loan? If I say yes, it will say, I'm prompting you to so and so bank's website. Please upload your certain information and your loan will be sanctioned in a couple of seconds and minutes. Now, I upload the information. The loan is processed through robotic process automation, as I was explaining to you, because digitalization and RPA has been done. And immediately loan get disbursed from the bank's own system, again through RPA, and Amazon.com gets an information that the loan has been sanctioned and you can give the delivery. Now, this particular instance where Amazon.com has integrated their e-commerce platform with the robotic process automation platform of a bank for auto sanctioning of loan without the at night 1 o'clock. So that is what has given a new horizon of starting a new business without any advertisement or without coming into contact with the customer, without any need for any marketing. Because here, that particular prompt by Amazon.com has given me a business opportunity, me being HDFC Bank. The win-win situation for Amazon.com is that it has given an opportunity for a guy to avail of a loan, and Amazon.com is prompting them to HDFC Bank, because these two platforms are artificially intelligence and integrated themselves. So the bank has created a new business model and a new revenue model. So that is where the point is. That is where the point is. What I want to share with you is that artificial intelligence helps you to go ahead, and create new business model and new revenue model. And this is the core thought I will be developing now forward in my presentation, that we should not stop by digitalization of business. Even with robotic process automation and application of artificial intelligence, we should continue to generate new business model and new revenue model with the help of artificial intelligence, so that, I repeat, so that our business can take new challenges and serve the people who are still unserved. And there is a digital divide, and the bank can get into hinterland of any country, the interior of any country, and reach the benefit and bank the unbanked people. Okay. So, but the benefit here is that the reason here is that every single person today is mobile savvy, and every single person stores some of its minimum data and document in their mobile. So this is the core essence, that digital transformation with artificial intelligence is the opportunity for a CFO to and his CXO colleagues to generate new business model and new revenue model, is the core message I'm spreading throughout my talks in several international, national seminars and conferences and summits, where I'm saying digitalization is not equal to digital transformation. Let's proceed. So we say that digital transformation is not a lipstick project to decorate your company. It's not a destination. It's a continuing journey. It's a journey to de-risk your company by opening new business model and responding to the business disruptions. Now, digital transformation also need strategic decisions. Now, I will remember with all reverence to a gentleman who lived about 2,600 years before under the sun. He used to say, he's a Chinese military strategies. We used to say strategy without tactics is a slow path to uncertain success. Strategy without tactics is a slow path to uncertain success. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So not only strategy has to be formulated, but tactics to implement the strategy must also have to be implemented. Has to be also created by artificial intelligence. Now, this slide must be very common for all of you, whether you are a finance professional at the other side of the table as a consultant, or this side of the table as a corporate CXO. I can give the finance and CFOs domain of work into 4 sections. First is the corporate reporting, which is the core function. Second is the finance and treasury, which is again a core function. Third is the financial risk and compliance, which is a core function, but it is a collaborative function. Every department has to be, every function has to be involved into it. And finally, another shared function is the business performance strategy and planning. This is where artificial intelligence, generative AI, etc., which I discussed with you earlier, helps us a lot. And this is where also it helps. We used to say that earlier data and artificial intelligence helps us to create ESG score. Now it can also create DEI score. I'm sure all of you know what is DEI score. It is diversity, equality, and inclusivity. These are the 3 things a company has to work on today: diversity, equality, and inclusivity, in addition to ESG score, compliance management, meeting the listing requirements. All these things can be administered by a robotic process automation system with the help of artificial intelligence. Let remain talent management. In a large organization, you can do talent management, and let alone even integration and intermediation. We don't need much of intermediation today. What we need is cross-functional data study. That means suppose we have a sales manufacturing data and we have a finance and sales data, we can do behavioral study of this data with the help. So this entire functions of a CFO or a finance team in collaboration with their CXOs can have enormous potentials for applications of digitalization, and digital transformation. And artificial intelligence and generative AI from its family of tools can help a lot. Let us come on critical thinking, which is very important from the perspective of strategic thinking. So any business professional, may it be finance man or a marketing man or a manufacturing man, he has to go through this quadrennium of thinking. One is the critical thinking. It's a processing and organizing facts, data, and other information in a manner that it helps us to serve a purpose and achieve an objective. So this Oxford Dictionary of Critical Thinking is the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. So I have to form a judgment whether I'll take decision A or decision B. For that, I need to think critically. Whether that particular decision will solve our strategic purpose of our organization, it will be able to take us on a sustainable path of growth with return and our transactional growth in terms of top line. For that, I need to revise my strategy, and for that, I have to resort to data, which is the most valuable asset in today's world. So strategic thinking is the way of approaching the fundamental drivers of a problem and the fundamental drivers to create value. Strategic thinking focuses on finding, developing unique opportunities. And who helps us to think strategically is data. Lakhs and lakhs of transactional data are generated. But those transactional data has to be processed in such a manner so that it gives me some sensible inference and insights from the data. And that is held by artificial intelligence and generative AI. Okay. Now, CFO's role here is also to wear the hat of a design thinker, because unless I cannot design through an iterative process, the alternative strategies and solutions and implementation tactics I have to meet the challenges, I will not be able to proceed ahead. So whatever adoption and application of artificial intelligence and generative AI, etc., I do, I as a finance man must have a design thinking in my sense of senses so that I can in a structured manner proceed with the tools and serve the purpose of my company. Now coming to the next point of radical thinking. Radical thinking is something which when you do not find the solution immediately, go to the root of the problem. That's why I said that when the future looks hazy, go back to the basics. So radical thinking, if you have to do, then again, you also have to go to artificial intelligence. So I became a qualified chartered accountant in 1979 with PwC. I started my career. That world and today's world, we have not heard about something called strategic thinking and design thinking, but today artificial intelligence has helped us to do that. So I have in front of us 4 pillars of strategy, AI strategy, 4 pillars of AI strategy. First is the vision. Second is the value. Third is the risk. Fourth is adoption. I should have a vision about application and adoption of artificial intelligence. I should have an understanding about the value that I will generate. I should have an understanding about the risk I will generate. That is, Dr. Basu's 2023 and 24 data is not updated. Similarly, business transactional data of 2023 and 24 are not put into a data analytics system, and the CFO takes a decision based on stale and past data, definitely this decision is going to be wrong. So AI, to function in a de-risked manner without any risk, there is a pillar, and that pillar comes from strategic thinking, design thinking, and radical thinking. So and in radical thinking, risk assessment, like I was talking about here, this is the area where financial risk and compliance, that gets correlated here, where the risk is taken care of. And finally, you take a decision to adopt and apply artificial intelligence in your organization. Now, yes, please, if you have any question, kindly put it into the chat box. And after it is 2013 now, we started about 2040 after the talk. So by 2030, I think I should be able to take you through maybe another 2-3 minutes here and there. After that, I will start taking your questions, because to questions and answer, we'll be having clarity more. So now come to the design thinking and application of artificial intelligence for innovation of new business model and revenue model, as I was talking about, because the ultimate objective of digitalization is digital transformation of business, and digital transformation takes place only when you get a new business model and a revenue model. Now, you should have a viable business. Whatever, suppose you have adopted artificial intelligence and generative AI, whatever tools you want to, and now you want to decide whether you are in the right stage. How you can decide? The crucible is what? Which is the crucible? Crucibles are 3, made by 3 pillars: viability, desirability, and feasibility. Where feasibility and viability intersects, you get the process. Where feasibility and desirability intersects, you get the function. And where desirability and viability intersects, you get the emotional attachment. Now, emotional attachment, functional attachment, and process attachment gives you the innovation. This process of desirability, viability testing, feasibility testing, getting attached to a decision-making process by getting into the data, doing digital thinking, critical thinking, strategic thinking, design thinking, makes it possible to innovate something new in terms of new business design and new revenue model design and new uh, business model design. So I personally feel that viability testing, desirability testing, and feasibility testing, where desirability testing also comes risk and compliance, is very, very important as a framework for application and adoption of artificial intelligence. Now, if a CFO wants to adopt and apply artificial intelligence to his organization or to his even department, he can't take the decision straight away. It has to be, and as a CFO, he is touched, or as a financeman, he is touched by everything across the organization. So the adoption and application of digital tools and techniques, including artificial intelligence, generative AI, neural network, etc., has to align with the vision. That is what we want to be, values, that is what is important for us, and mission of the company. If these three things, vision, values, and mission, can be seen to be achieved by application of AI and generative AI, we get the decision approved by the board. Yes, we can adopt and apply artificial intelligence. But we have to see continuously what is our balance scorecard. We have to see where we want to apply. So we have to see our SWOT analysis. And finally, you have to do strategic initiative in terms of applying digital tools to attain the stakeholder satisfaction, the beneficiary satisfaction. We can get an effective process and we can get motivated professionals in our team. But the guardrails are important. I was going through this loans management review. The guardrails are very, very important. What are those guardrails? There are 4 guardrails. Shared strategic objectives. If you have to make an agile strategy for adopting and applying artificial intelligence, your objective from it should be shared with everybody in your team. And shared objective needs a acceptance, and acceptance needs a change management. Next is, are you enabling rapid access to the well-managed data? Data access is needed, but over access of data or over exposure to data is also dangerous, because leakage of data can take away all your business tricks. Cyber criminals, so data security is important. The third guardrail is streamlining the policies and processes. The policies, processes, guidelines which you have followed in a digitized atmosphere will not work in a digitalization atmosphere, and will further not work if you want to create new business model and revenue model. So essentially, you have to create a very agile digital strategy and agile digital policy of the company. So we have to regularly adjust our resources, our data, based on the evolving needs of the organization. And evolving needs of the organization will be thrown up by the transactional data and behavioral data of people where transactional data are not available, like social media data. I'll give you a quick survey of 608 people. The survey result has been done by Gartner. 608 people were surveyed in 2023. It says that artificial intelligence improves productivity by 77%. It's a Gartner survey, so definitely you can rely on it. Expected benefits from AI investments, that is the name. Reducing cost, 50%. Surveyed people accepted. Enhanced customer experience, 56%. 53% says it can increase agility and responsiveness. Drive digital transformation, 53% people have said, and drive innovation. And when the mass is 608 and the mass belongs to, mass represent the CIOs and technology leaders who were surveyed and by a very responsible organization and techno commentator called Gartner, you can rely upon it that artificial intelligence is here to stay, and it will be used by people So CFO has got an added responsibility to oversee everything and anything and everything to protect the organization from the perspective of the evils of artificial intelligence. If somebody claims that artificial intelligence is without any evil, I of course would beg to differ. Now, what are the frameworks? Now I'll come to the uh, next part of framework, and finally the last one. Now, what is the adoption framework of application of AI and Gen AI for finance function? Now, first is there are 4 pillars of framework, which we saw just now: vision, value, risk, and adoption. In case of adoption, that is the decision which we have to take and align the purpose and objective of adoption with the organization vision, mission, and value system. And also we will encircle and ring fence our organization from the risks. That is one of the major objectives and pillars of decision making in the context of strategies building for the organization going forward in a digitally savvy atmosphere where technology is evolving at an overwhelming speed over the years. Now, a CFO has to understand that adoption and application is the beginning point. His main task is, perhaps in certain organization, the custodian of data is, even if it is a marketing or production data, it is the CFO who is the custodian of the data. At certain organizations says that. So CFOs to understand the AI life cycle. So data preparation and curation, experimentation and evaluation, validation and deployment, and inference and feedback. It's a very simple, nothing to be explained here. The simple point here is that if the data the data of which goes behind the decision making is wrong, partial, irrelevant, dated, then you will get garbage coming into the artificial intelligence tool. And of course, what will be out will be a garbage, and you will be basing your decision on wrong thing. So wrong inference and wrong data gist. So data preparation is important, and experimentation with the data is important. In this experimentation stage, you have to decide which type of tool will be useful, or progressively which type of tool you will take. Validation and deployment, whatever you get, you have to, you say that computer has given this, so that is the Bible for me. No, not certainly. Anything and everything which is thrown out by the data may be the best of the system of the world. I suggest that the CFO and his CXOs must look at the data once more. Here, I'm not talking about the millions of data. I'm talking about the gist or the inferences or the final visualization or the final summary sheet which has been created by the company AI system, and that has to be seen. And finally, you have to draw the inference and take the feedback from the market. So if you can do that, you get into the PDP loop. PDP is physical, digital, and physical loop. I'll explain to you how it works. You do strategic planning. Suppose you don't have any digital system. You do strategic planning from your whatever data is available, and you take a decision. You take the decision, strategic decision, and implement in the marketplace. Now you are collecting every single transactional data at the marketplace and consequentially at the plant or offices where the product or services are being produced and delivered. So you implement your strategy there. You generate another set of transactional data and people's behavior data at the marketplace who are your customers, and your own company's own people's behavior in terms of performance, etc. You analyze those data once again. This is the second time data analysis which you have captured without any need for curation, because no human interference was there in this data capturing. This is an automated system. I'm talking about this stage. This curation process, this stage of experimentation precedes a curation process. In this curation process, at this stage, curation of data would have been more necessary At this stage, curation of data is not necessary because it has been automatically collected. Now you apply the AI ML DL, and likely that you will get a better inferences and insight from the data, which will help you to get a better strategy and execution technique. So data, the process of artificial intelligence tools application even can be monthly. It can be even weekly. So even suppose there are huge rejections coming up from a large plant from various stages, the rejection data can also be an important data for you to analyze and understand where the rejection is coming from and what is the consequential loss being incurred, whether that loss can trade off with a new investment for removing the cost. So PDP loop not only can be in the marketplace, but also can be in your place. Then you can say, Dr. Basu, in the PDP loop, we will be using social marketing data also. My question here is very simple. When you use social data, you will be using it very, very carefully, because generative AI, if it is allowed to get into social without any control, then you have a problem. Then comes the
Dr.
five.
Basu, I'm
Yes.
sorry to interfere. Vineet here. Sir,
Yeah.
just doing a time check. We are almost 55 minutes into the webinar. So just
I'll
wanted
take
to
another
know.
5 minutes.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
People might still be in the process of typing their questions. No one has parked any questions as yet. But I just thought to let you know about the times. Please carry.
Sorry, I'll just take. I think your introduction time, etc. I've just dropped out, so I thought another 5 minutes I'll be finishing.
Vineet,
Absolutely,
I
sir,
think
please.
Vineet, the questions you cannot type in questions, but saying that the host has not turned it on. So I tried it, so maybe other people are also trying it somehow.
Yes, sir. And I did respond, sir. You could type the question in the chat box itself.
Okay,
I don't know about
perfect.
that
Thank
Q&A
you.
facility. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so you have 8 attributes of data in Weave terms. One is the volume attribute, one is the value attribute, one is the veracity attribute, one is the visualization attribute, one is the variety attribute, velocity attribute, viscosity attribute, and virality attribute. I'm sure Charlotte will be loading my presentation in the website, or you will also see these things and see the explanations of it. I'm a little worried about the viscosity of the data. Rest of the things you can understand. Viscosity of the data, it means that as a CFO, the data should get stuck with me. It must create a tremor in me that, hey, I am doing business in this manner and my understanding of the business is this. And now data is throwing up a different business, and I have seen the data, I have observed all the precautions to see the data, and I find the data is correct. So here I must do something. So it's very, very important that the data viscosity is seen, data and the application tools revelation should be such that it gets stuck with the CFO's thinking process. Now, the strategy which you decide should be passing through your VRIO analysis. VRIO analysis means it should be giving you competitive advantage. That means it should be valuable. It should not be an imitable. That means if somebody imitates, it doesn't give you advantage. So it should be a rare. Then you proceed. If it is of temporary advantage and doesn't give you a little 2-3 years time to make good of your investment and beat the competition behind, so you should be having the rare strategy, and it should be imitable strategy. And finally, your organization should have capability to implement the strategy which you decide based on the application of artificial intelligence and generative AI, etc. And if your strategy is valuable, rare, imitable, inimitable, that means cannot be copied, and it can be organized within the organization, then you get the actual this thing. So application of generative AI, you will be doing your own company data, as I was speaking to you. If you take the open data, in terms of compliance, etc., you can put in the Companies Act, you can put in the Security Exchange Commission's everything inside. That you need not depend upon their website, that you can bring in inside. But if you depend upon the data of outsiders, you have to be very, very careful. So generative AI can create havoc for you in terms of do good and bad. So as long as the data is good, okay. Now that is why I have personally has created a 12-hour framework for ensuring success of artificial intelligence. It is selection of the right project with the right set of data for the right purpose at the right time, with the right analysis and analytics, deploying right tools and software, with the right manpower for the right output generation, taking the right decision out of it at the right kind of cost which your organization can bear for the right return, and updating past learning at the right interval. I am personally sure that if these 12 hours are followed by any CFO, he or she perhaps will not fail in the project miserably. Generative AI, I have spoken about it by now already. The most important aspect of generative AI is that it can help you in transactional finance, controllership, get a generation of insight, deep domain knowledge, prediction and forecasting, and embedded finance. But what is important for you is, again, understanding the end-to-end value chain of the company as you add new business model and revenue model to it. And when you add new business model and revenue model to it, you have to understand your organization vision, mission, culture, policies, and SOPs are updated or not. I'll skip this data, a particular slide. I'll only say that it's a multifunctional subject when you deal with data. So a functional CFO should have a data scientist in his own organization. This is the PwC's framework of data governance, which is very, very important. I don't need to re-emphasize on data governance as a model, which is very, very important in terms of making data as your asset. Like you maintain and preserve your plant and machinery, you must maintain and preserve and do have a surveillance on the data which you have. Finally, adoption and application of AI in various other functions. These you can read through. I need not talk about it. It can have a planning model. It can have a machine learning model. These are all I have talked about. I need not explain by the process I've spoken. There can be drivers and barriers. Let me tell you, in terms of generative AI implementation, 68% of global business leaders are still determining governance for Gen AI. In India, the position is that 58% in India is still determining the governance model of generative AI. Data protection model and privacy, 52% are still struggling. 52% lack mature generative AI vendors. That is another very important factor. Vendors are not mature, and data accuracy. But definitely the drivers are so strong, demands are strong, demands are then content demands are strong, output demands are strong, need for synthetic data is coming up, diversity requirements are strong. So I'm sure generative AI will go ahead. And these are the functions generative AI can do. You can read through my slide when it is uploaded. My last two slides, three slides are this. One is the ethics part. Next is the culture-driven part. And last is the TRiSM. I'll finish in 2 minutes. There are three domains of generative AI. One domain is the, domain of technical domain. One is the cognitive domain, and one is the information domain. So when the information domain and technical domain gets in, you get the computer ethics. When the cognitive domain and the information domain intersects, you get the computational ethics. And when the cognitive domain and the technological domain intersects, you get the robotic machines ethics. And when robotic machine ethics and computer ethics and computational ethics get in and intersect, you get the digital ethics. So digital ethics gives you the governance domain. That's very important. Computational ethics, robotic ethics, and that is robotic ethics includes, of course, AI ethics, and computer ethics, that is the computational ethics, not the AI ethics part, that is the tool ethics part. You have to follow the digital ethics. There can be three kinds of cultural guidance for AI adoption and application. One is the culture as a guiding star. Culture as an operational fabric. That means people are, change management is so strong that people are passionately attached and become a embedded part of the digitalization and digital transformation system. And finally, culture as an employee experience, a first-hand experience of the organization, the colleagues and the leadership team. That means it's an integration of the cultural domain in terms of inspirational culture. When you inspire people, get into it, they become all operational, they experience the AI, and finally you live with it. My last slide is AI TRiSM. If you have to apply, you have to trust your people and trust the technical people. So you have to, your technical team has to attain the skill of not only an ICT person, information and communication technology person, but also of a data person, data scientist. Finally, the risk part, and risk management is CFOs, one of the major work. CFOs must review the output by applying their own judgment. There is absolutely no substitute of applying your own judgment. Next is defect. If you don't apply your judgment, defects cannot be avoided and output manipulation cannot be avoided. Maybe your system is so strong it may not generate defects, but you cannot rule out output manipulation. And finally, systems management. All possible UAT, user acceptance test, beta testing, zero unauthorized access to data so that data cannot be manipulated and data cannot be corrupted by anybody. Access to data, periodical ethical hacking is a part of the systems management. So AI TRiSM is very, very important. And finally, what Albert Einstein said, I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. Perhaps he tried to say, if AI becomes an ASI, that is artificial super intelligence, then human beings may be turning to idiots. I've not tested in it, and time is still not there to test it. But let's hope that that day will never come. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dr. Basu. Thank you so much. I think it was really engrossing webinar. The topic itself is on one hand, um, so interesting and relevant in today's world. At the same time, the kind of deep dive you did, at least I understand that so overwhelming, in the first look, at the same time requires so deep dive and so much
The
expertise
topic is
to be able to carry it forward.
too long, and you have added generative AI. That's why I had to spend at least 10 slides more to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really appreciate that. There have been a lot of questions, so I'll take them one by one.
Yeah.
So Omar Rasul has a couple of questions. So first, how to ensure consistency of output, hallucination challenges, ensuring data set used for training is not biased.
See, first of all, a CFO from his own financial domain part, and from the organizational part where he is a collaborating agent and an oversight agent, couple of things has to be understood. First, data relevance, data currency, and decision to be taken. Coupled with, tied up with the organizational vision, organizational data ethics, and digital transformation ethics. If these are correct, and if the organization's data access control system is correct, and transactional data is captured without any human intervention, then I believe the data remains mostly untouched. If the data remains untouched, his next question comes, whether the machine learning, if it is a supervised environment, the algorithm is not biased. See, Vinay, that kind, Mr. Omar, that testing's bias of the algorithm can be tested by the CFO. Here comes the CFO's own capability. If he finds that a whole set of transactional data has given certain kind of output, and he and his team members or his CXOs expected something different, then the data has to be tested in a different manner. Data can be further segmented and tested in a different, with a different question. If the answers to previous questions to the data in terms of supervised learning is again with another set of questions, if the data gives another doubtful answer or doubtful trend analysis or visualization, then definitely there is something wrong. Then the instruction to the machine in terms of supervised learning through algorithm has to be tested.
Sure.
Dr. Basu,
Understood.
can I jump in just to clarify? This is Umar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
please.
so I have heard, like, again, you are an expert in that area, and I'm just like 10,000 feet away hearing about the stuff happening. Heard a lot about the hallucination, controlling the hallucination. So, are there good measures and controls in place to make sure that it's not hallucinating? And also in the consistency of output, people have been saying, like, it's very difficult to see that it produces the same results again and again, consistently. So any thoughts on that?
Mr. Omar, I share your anxiety. And when we talk about hallucination getting created by AI tools, various type of AI tools, may it be agentic AI or may it be RAG or may it be generative AI, I personally feel that the whole subject is in a nascent stage. That's why even OpenAI has started working on OpenY01. That means they are trying to understand and trying to test their own output once. Like I was telling you that I am a professor of NMIMS University School of Business Management, that ChatGPT has said. But ChatGPT doesn't know that I have finished my tenure there and now I'm an adjunct faculty of IIM. So if this kind of distorted data is thrown up, a result is thrown up, then you will be definitely hallucinated.
Right.
So perfection of the generative AI, that is the present day advanced tools of AI, is still to come.
Okay.
That is my study. Even I have studied quite a lot of research papers on this before presenting it in front of you, because presenting a paper of this scale to people like you is not easy. So I've done my work. I think scientists are still working on it.
Okay. Perfect.
It's still not clear how it will be handled.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. And Umar, I'll take your other questions a little later. Let me just go to the some other participant as well, please.
Sure.
S. Ghosh asks how to identify the areas in a particular industry where AI can bring a change. For example, from mining industry perspective, would you kindly indicate any issue where AI can be used?
A mining industry perspective, I can first understand the application of AI through robotic process operation. Let me tell you one thing. There is a serpentine robot has been created where the serpentine robot is being used in a big way for understanding where accidents can occur before getting into mining. That means through visual inspection of the opening point of that mine area, the data that picture that gets generated by a Serpentine AI. Serpentine AI is a robot which can get into holes where a human being cannot go and see visually. Or in an accident place where Serpentine, recently there were earthquakes, Serpentine AIs have been applied to find whether there are living things are there underneath the debris. In the context of mine, there can be another application of AI is in a big area, certain attributes of the soil or 100 or 10 feet dark soil, certain attributes are generated and certain predictions are done, or 200 feet or 100-meter are dug and certain attributes are drawn from the dark materials, and predictions are done, so many tons of lakh tons of so many million tons of mining products are there, mineable products are there. Now, this data is available throughout the world. Like we predict the weather, same way we can predict more correctly what is the availability and level of purity of the minerals which are available underneath mine. So I have spoken to you three things so far. One is about predicting the nature of the rock, where you can go or not go for mining. If you have to go, what safety measures you have to take. Next is the predicting the production ability, that means the storage under the mother earth of a particular material. And the third in the mining industry could be what is the behavior of the labor. I have invented a particular software which is there in the American World Intellectual Property Organization's website. You can see where I studied the behavior of people using my software. And somebody is doing a particular job in 5 minutes, and somebody is doing it 3 minutes, somebody is doing 2 minutes. And how many people are doing this kind of, in how many minutes, gives me an understanding whether my software is correct. So mining methodology perfection and mining methodology tools perfection can also be brought by artificial intelligence in terms of operations. And of course, in terms of finance area, there can be anything and everything which almost common function across the industry sectors.
Okay, thank you for that. And the other question was coming back to Omar. So he had asked about a question related to ROI. Should ROI measures be considered in selecting and prioritizing use cases?
Absolutely right. In fact, you must have observed in my 12-hour analysis, which I have written about quite a lot and spoken about quite a lot. And feedback is that, Dr. Basu, your 12-hour analysis is good. One of the R is ROI, right? ROI. That means you have a hurdle rate in your company. You have a hurdle rate in your company. Suppose that hurdle rate is X%, and this particular application gives you Y%. And if Y is not at least is equal to X, in a normal case, you do not go for capital investment. But Mr. Umar, let me tell you, at some point of time, if you find that unless you go for an e-commerce wing of your business, you are, say, Zara of the world, and Zara is a shop-based organization. If Zara doesn't open an e-commerce kind of organization, perhaps one group of customer it will lose. It could be possible initially the investment is high and the ROI from that segment of the business may not be correct, may not be your hurdle rate equivalent. But you may have to go, because otherwise you will gradually lose that generation of customers. So at times you have to go to take advantage of the trend of the day, because you do not know that today 40% of the customer is in that business mode, e-commerce business mode. Tomorrow, not 60 or 70%. Like in India, in urban areas, mom and pop shops, grocery shops have almost getting closed. Why? Because it is either quick commerce or e-commerce companies are taking over that business.
Interesting.
So artificial intelligence applications at times becomes a compulsive decision for you, keeping in view that that will be paying in future. That's why Amazon.com, even after 32 years of
Yeah.
losing, today it is one of the richest companies of the world. More they made loss, more they made sales. More they made sales, their equity value increased in SEC stock exchange.
That's right. That's
Right?
interesting. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Sir,
question.
I have a question.
Yes.
I wanted to ask if AI design principles have a lot to do with cognitive practices, a lot of things where I see similarity with psychology. You mentioned about cultural alignment and all of that. So, how do we use AI and psychology related tools together? Like, for example, you have various business transformation projects where all these skills are required to be used to make the project a successful one, change management. So how do we interlink all these, sir?
Vinith, this is a very interesting question. Very, very
So,
interesting question. And I just finished a project in South India, one of the largest NBFCs of the country. I don't want to name it. I did a pre-digitalization and digital transformation diagnostic consulting project with them. We spent
okay,
with them roughly about 5 months.
okay. Is
They
this
have a
company in
team.
Chennai?
No,
Okay, sure.
please
Please go
don't
ahead, sir.
ask me any more questions. I
Absolutely. Please go ahead,
don't
sir.
want to name it, but it is in
Yeah,
South India. Now,
got it.
this company has got a battery of 60 people
Okay,
because it operates throughout India and have started spreading tentacles in SAARC countries. It operates thousands and thousands of branches and operates thousands and thousands people. Dependency is there on them, and the data which is they are generating from the battery of 60 people using Excel and very
right,
rudimentary tools of Excel and little rudimentary tools of data visualization. The CFO is not happy, the CEO is not happy,
right,
and they are feeling that certain wrong things are happening in the organization which is not to happen. And they specifically gave us an idea कि you recommend us where to apply which digital tool, where to go for blockchain, where to go for artificial intelligence. We did a recommendation. Let me tell you one thing. The change management this organization needs to do, they have not prepared the company in that kind of a change management atmosphere, and people are having an anxiety कि मेरा job चला जाएगा.
right,
Though we spoke to my job will go away. Though we
right.
spoke to each of the people, even up to the manager level, we went right from the head of the department to the next to manager level. We went up to ethical hacking, everything. But people are under this fear psychosis. The organization told them, ki, hey, please, you will never be declared surplus. You will be trained up with the tool. But the fear of unknown to get trained, that's a problem. So that's
Right.
why I showed you a framework of culture
Sure.
and the framework of change management. This is
Right.
very important, Vinith.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, the CEO and CFO will not do the job, right? Even
Right.
the tools are to be operated by the CEO and CFO. Another area, Vinith, you have to be careful. Most of the business organization today are working with cloud computing.
Right.
So your data is in the hands of others.
Right.
And you do not know the way they are keeping the data and whatever way you need to retrieve the data, whether they will be able to apply the ETL tool. ETL means extract, transform, and load. Means
Right.
your core data has to be curated and to be loaded in the artificial intelligence system. And then the tool has to operate and give you the insight and inferences from the data.
Okay.
Now, this
Understood.
cloud computing system has to be revisited.
Sure. Sure. Got it, sir. Thank you so much for that. And just taking one last question uh, from Omar again. Any perspective on upskilling and reskilling and cultural shift in finance to leverage the full potential of Gen AI?
Oh, that is what I was talking to
Yes.
what's
You
up
just
just now.
went through that.
Just
Yes.
now that if your people suffers from that my job will go away, the first sabotage will either come from there, and in the process you may lose some of your powerful people who are passionate, very core to your company, and they are very attached to your company. Now these passionate people, if you give them a comfort that your job will not go away, because of this tools will get more business, and for managing more business we will need more people, more surveillance, because the data has to be also kept under surveillance. The data has to be also read through after the outputs are given. Then only your project will be successful. At the end of the day, change management is vital, and there is a concept called decision drumbeat. DRUMBEAT. Decision drumbeat.
Decision drum beat.
Yeah. This beat, not BEAT, BIT. You beat the
Oh,
drum.
bit. Okay.
That means the decision which you have taken for digitalizing, and digitally transforming your business organization has to be change managed with your digital decision drumbeat method. That means at the very stage of thinking to change, you have to adopt. And let me tell you one more thing, which I'm very sorry to tell you. I have had the benefit of talking to the board of directors of some of my clients.
Yeah.
The board of directors are generally people like us, 70 years, 75 years, or 60 years plus people. These are the people, they are not sold to the new ideas of artificial intelligence and application and adoption.
Very true.
So, and the culture starts from the head. And it cannot
Sure.
be a one-way process that the young generation convinces the people ki sir, mujhe give me the AI tool.
Right.
I'll do better. The top has to appreciate.
Right.
They suffer from the fear of unknown. They do not like Mr. Omar at this stage is sitting in this, and Mr. Sinha has this stage at this stage sitting in this program and trying to understand what I'm talking about. Why? If our directors, board people, and even some CXO level people do not want to bring new knowledge to their own self, how they can bring new knowledge to the organization?
Absolutely correct.